Hello and welcome to another episode of how to use Bitwig Studio. So today we're going to be actually learning the interface of Bitwig Studio. You'll be greeted first with this. It may not look like this. I've obviously done projects already in Bitwig Studio. So what you want to do when you hit this screen, first of all, you've got this user panel here which you're already on. If you go to the settings, you've got different options here, like you've got the user interface. You can customize the user interface with how you want it to look like. That's not a problem at all. You've got you've got display profile, you've got contrast, view, you've got the mouse options, and the transport options. I'm just going to put my glasses on. I do wear glasses, but normally. Right, so we've got behavior here. So we've got the behavior tab. This is also in the settings. We've got open on start options there. So when you open on start, it will either open a new project, last project that you worked on, or the dashboard, which you can see here. Then you've got the template, so you can use a template for new projects. So you can basically create a template that you want to use. A lot of professional music producers actually use templates, and it's generally much faster than using a standard kind of blank project, basically. So you've got the defaults here. You've got new track volume. Mine is set to 10.0 decibels. Default stretch mode. You've got long samples stretch, short samples raw. If you go to here, we can see it's going to let me. So you've got stretch HD, slice, raw, repitch. Mine set to stretch there. The short samples, again, you've got the same options and the same options here. Well, sort of the same options, but not all of them. We've got fades. So default fade length is 10.0 milliseconds. Then we've got the automatically create fades on audio clip event edits. We've got the device, floating window, follow current track, select tracks when. So you've got selecting clips on arranger timeline, selecting clips in clip launcher. Then you've got set play start marker when. That basically you've got selecting clips on time on arranger. So that's automatically enabled, I believe. If it's not, it's probably best to enable that. So bounce is bit depth 24-bit. You've got resume playback and note chase. I don't know about that part, but anyway, let's get on to the audio. So the way I've got mine set up, I've got the ASIO driver, right? But it's connected with voice meter. So to do this, if I basically what it lets me do is it lets me to have it so that I can listen to audio from YouTube videos, for example, while actually working on a project. So this is so much more easier from when you're doing music and that. So you can actually learn while you're doing it, even easier than what you would do with the normal ASIO driver, because sometimes the normal ASIO driver, it cuts out the actual audio from videos, and I know for a fact with YouTube it doesn't even play the video because they've got it set up somehow to not, it doesn't like the actual thing there. So it doesn't like the actual ASIO driver for some reason. Anyway, so I've got mine set up. So we've got the voice meter aux output, and then we've also got here under this one you've got ASIO for all V2. Okay, so now we've kind of got that out of the way. Let's have a look. So we've got the aux virtual ASIO. Now with voice meter it doesn't have a control panel unless you actually launch it from the start menu. Then you've also got sample rate. So automatic, you've got from automatic down to 96,000 Hertz. Then you've got the block size. Mine's at 1024 samples, so I'm getting the highest amount at the moment because that's what worked best for me. We've got recording offset. Mine's set to 0 samples. Basically the offset is like when it's actually like how long before it's recorded, basically that kind of thing. Input buses, we've got stereo in sector 1 and 2. Output buses, speakers are 1 and 2. Headphones 3 and 4. And you can add speakers, you can add stereo, and you can add mono, and you can add headphones to that, to this here. Next you got the recording tab. So the recording tab, you got start, transport on record, write automation on record, which is ticked, audio recording latency compensation, which is ticked. We've got auto arm, which is has instrument tracks, which is ticked. Audio tracks is not ticked. Pre-roll is set to none, and it's play metronome during pre-roll at the moment, but you can change it to 1, 2 and 4. Record quantization is set to off currently. You can do it to 132, 116, 18 or 14. Okay, so controllers. So I currently have a MIDI controller keyboard. It's not, it does show up here, it's there, 8 device knobs, keyboard. So I've got the Roland A49. I don't have it actually plugged in at the moment, but it is in the settings here. Okay, and you've got takeover mode immediate, that's normal. Normal mode they're set to. Then we've got synchronization, so we've got sync method, transport sync in, off. You can set it to MIDI clock or Ableton link. So it's actually got Ableton features in this as well, because Bitwig is, I would describe it as a cross between FL Studio and Ableton, and I believe that it may, one of the developers of FL Studio and also some of the developers of Ableton may have actually contributed to Bitwig Studio. This is Bitwig Studio 3, by the way, 8-track version. Okay, so we've got the synth as well, so you can start the synth and that on there as well. Locations, we've got all that, all the plugins. We've got the plugin interface scaling, so I've got a lot of plugins. I actually get some of these free because like most of my plugins are free from offers that I've got from the Computer Music magazine, or some other offer that the manufacturer of the plugin has actually made, or has actually created, or should say. Right, so we've got shortcuts as well. You're going to do it. Okay, yeah, shortcuts. So this is where you can find your shortcuts for Bitwig Studio, any shortcuts, and you can actually create more shortcuts with it. It's very easy to do. You can do, you can just like really easily create new shortcuts for it. It's got a ton of shortcuts already pre-added. Next, you've also got this packages tab. Okay, so packages tab, in 8-track you will only get the Essentials collection by Bitwig. So that's the only one you'll get. If I go to the Essentials collection, you can see it's got Bitwig Factory Clips, Bitwig Factory Device Presets, Bitwig Templates, try saying that several times, Classic Drum Machines, Dr. Power's Wurtelizer or something like that. I can't pronounce it. Okay, Grand Piano Lite, and yeah, that's basically all the packages in the Essentials collection. Then you've got the Extended collection, which comes with the full version of Bitwig Studio. So analog waves, all of these ones basically. I'm not going to go through each one. You've got Artist collection, which gives you Bitwig Lab, Claude Young cinematic synth sounds, Christine Vogel, Bitwig Lab, Fingerlick Jams. That's a bit of a strange one. Okay, Polarity Tools, Partner collection, Wrapped System, Wrapped Euro Rack, and then you've got other partner collections. So I have actually got I can actually download these without a problem. So you can also download these ones, you see. So I've got Beatport Sounds, it's a teaser, but you can actually add more to it as well. So you've got Source Destination, so Source is currently on Bitwig Online, Destination is that. Okay, so the Help section, which you will find very useful for when doing tutorials, and when you're trying to look for tutorials and that even. And you've got the documentation, so all the documentation here is in about 3 different languages. So for some reason it's UK, German and Japanese. I have no idea why they decided to choose those particular 3 languages, but they have, so that's cool. And then you've got the thing is basically saying it's registered and all that, and just in case you think I don't have a legitimate version. So there we go, running a licensed version. So yeah, it's all definitely legit. Just wanted to make that clear. So next we come to this page. So we've got the audio tracks and that. So we've got instrument track and an audio track. You can also add various plugins in that as well. So you can add instrument, note effects, audio effects, various things basically. You've got everything you need. Yeah, so that's all that. You've got the presets. So if I go to presets, you've got all that. multi-samples, samples, and music in general. Okay, so we've got all that. I'm going to now show you the other tracks. So you can add an effects track, add a group track. You always options, so show clip launcher, show track IO, effect tracks, deactivated channels, large track height. Basically, you can also color them as well, so you can change color. You can go to the pre and post on the S1 effect. So you also got this part of it. So this is where if you remember, I said about Ableton, you've got these kind of things here. So you can add various stuff on that, and it basically works exactly like the Ableton software does. So this is very much like FL Studio and Ableton combined. So if I was to, for example, let's choose a Bitwig plugin. If I can find one, there it is. So if I was to actually try and find a let's go for a polysynth. Okay, ready? Okay, so the polysynth, you got this here. You've got all the different knobs, pitch, shape, sub, sync, noise, drive, all of that stuff. You've also got the note effects and normal effects. You also got dry and wet effects on when you're doing when you're using a different sampler or mastering, or for example, reverb will have dry and wet effects. Okay, so you've also got presets, samples, multi-samples, it's all up here basically. Okay, so we've got that. I think that's nearly everything covered, but let's go to the mix option. So again, you can see where this Ableton thing comes in. You've got the scenes there, you've got all the scenes, you've got the different synths and that on that one, and you can basically do mixing and all that. So right now we've got an S1 effect applied to every single one, and you can also add other effects, so audio effects, and you've got all these effects. And I think I have covered just about everything. Oh, I know what I haven't covered. Okay. So when you go into that, you can double click and you've got the keyboard. So you're probably thinking, why isn't there like different notes and that? Why is there only a certain amount of notes? Well, there isn't actually, because what you do is, see this magnifying glass, you click, drag to the left or up and down, but generally left to right is better, and you can expand them and you've got all the notes now. You've also got the drum editor, and you've got all these pointer tools, time selection tool, pen tool, eraser tool, knife tool, and you can insert channels there. So we've also got the clip part of it as well. So you can choose clip or track, which is quite useful. You've also got this part of it, so if I was to do that, you notice the amount of the timing of that is actually got more of that. And actually, if you extend this more, you will find that it adds more spaces as well. And if you do it less, you find that there's less numbers. Okay, so up here you've got the file menu, so you can export your audio. So if I go to export audio, you can export the master, you can export polysync audio, or that instrument track that you really want to export, you know, as its own track, and it will save it to your folder that you've got it saved to. So what you want to do though first is actually you want to save your project before you do export audio, because if you do it, if you don't save it first, it won't know where to put your exported audio to. Right, so then we've got the play button, so we've got automate, right, touch, right, mine's on latch, overdub, automation, right, overdub, record on scene launch, enable groove, metronome. We've got basically what the volume is set to, so it's set to -12 decibels. You've got pre-roll 1, 2, 3, 4 and none, and then you've got default launch quantization, and then post recording action delay, record quantization. So this is the play button, it will play a track. This is the stop button. This is the record button, so if you want to record vocals, if you want to record instruments that you actually have physically, so like if you've got a MIDI controller keyboard, for example, you can record using that button. We've also got automation right there as well. This is the this is basically DSP performance graph, and then you've got the same thing all there, so it's all to do with that. This is the amount of, you know, the BPM, so you can set the BPM to whatever you want. You can set it to 96, for example, 98, set it to 128 for EDM tracks, and yeah, so we've got that. This is the amount of time you've got, so if you notice, if you drag it across, it goes across the page there, because that's the time that it's on that. Then you've got the restore, automation, control, metronome, arrangement loop, and then you've got the add, so you can add instrument track, add audio track, add effect track, add groove track, add scene from playing clips. Then you've got the edit track, edit button even, I should say. Undo, change tempo is currently there. That might be different for you. Redo, cut, copy, paste, duplicate, delete, select all, and unselect all. Okay, you've got that. Then you've got the undo, redo button, duplicate button, and a delete button. Last of all, you've got this button here, notifications. You can set it to full screen using that, and Yeah, it's pretty useful. Then you got the minimize button, the maximize button and restore button, and the close button. And I think that is everything covered. So thank you for watching. If you're new to my channel, please make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, share this video with all your friends, your family, and yeah, peace.